Hello, and welcome to Connecting Hope. In today's episode, I will sit down with Suzanne Lafever and Lora Tatum from our Division of Workforce Development and Partnership Management. We will discuss the amazing work that our new round of subgrantees will be performing for Mississippians all across the state. We are excited to see this work come to fruition and hope that you will be informed and inspired by the work that is going on across Mississippi. Lora, Suzanne, thank you for joining us today. First question, as we talk about TANF and subgrantees, 2026 has started out to be a pretty strong year for the Division of Workforce Development and Partnership Management. I usually mess that title up. It's one of the longest in the agency, so we'll be proud of that. But first I want to just kind of get an overview of the new round of subgrantees that we have now signed beginning January 1, 2026, and the type of work that they will be doing, because there's a lot of different work and the importance of this work into their community. But let's start with talking about some of the new subgrantees as well as the work that they will be doing in local communities across the state.
Sure. We have after-school program activities. We have partners throughout the state that are providing STEAM, mentoring, tutoring, remediation, community pride type activities that help the youth develop leadership skills and pride in their community, and help build them towards a participating member of the workforce, whether it's through career paths or college prep, ACT prep. There's just a very large number of things that the APA programs are doing to help these children succeed and make Mississippi, a bigger, brighter, better, employable state.
Something you just said is the scope of the types of programs that can be offered. Many of them, multiple programs within one after-school program. A lot of people have that picture, and we're going to kind of divert into a little sub-question there about after-school. A lot of people think of childcare and after-school as just babysitting. Really, the standards for after-school programs are pretty rigid, and there's expectations that those programs. Can we talk a little bit about maybe what we're looking for in after-school programs specifically?
Oh, absolutely. One of the key things, requirement of the APA grants is that they provide teenage pregnancy prevention, out-of-wedlock pregnancy prevention. That's a key thing, but to include other things such as STEAM projects. Yeah. They're in robotics, book clubs, horticulture. There are dance, creative arts. There's so many things that they're being given a chance to explore prior to going to college, or pick careers later on, so that they kind of have a head start into what things look like and where their real path lies. So
in essence, one of the things that you see is the after-school programs with the STEAM may reflect some of the science and technology that's going on with all the way from the coast, the Stennis Space Centers here in Mississippi. So if a child can understand that type of engineering and math, they may be able to have a future working in Mississippi, whereas we also know that Mississippi is the birthplace of America's music. It's rich in culture for dance. We got the International Ballet Competition that comes every 4 years to Mississippi. So having subgrantees that connect students across the state, not just in one local community, but across the state, to multiple opportunities to expand their horizons, that's critical to really the future of our state, and in some instances, maybe addressing brain drain.
Yes.
So we're excited about those programs. We kind of got off on APA, which is after-school programs, but what other programs are these subgrantees kind of undertaking for us in the next few years?
We also have the Workforce Training and Education subgrants, which these have been really great programs because, we do get to see the success of, someone that may be a father that is working a $7.25, dollar an hour, and they get to go and get certified to drive a truck and increase those wages. Or it may be that they have other things that are just keeping them from being able to do the things that they want to try to do. And I think that's where these programs are just so important, because you do, if a person comes in and they are enrolled in that program, and even if they are having trouble getting a high school diploma, a driver's license, any kind of barrier that they may have, they're there to take that person and do everything that they can to get them to that point where they can succeed. And that's what is so important. All over Mississippi, for, years, you always have had people that just didn't know how to take that next step. And, you see that every day. And with these type of programs, you've got someone that's coming and saying, I'm going to help you get to that next step. I'm going to help you do whatever it is you want to do to succeed and to be better for your family. It all plays into being able to take a person that maybe has no support system at all, maybe was raised without a support system, and taking that person and making them into a person that can work and buy a home and do all the things that they have ever wanted to do. And that's what our subgrants do. They're so passionate about the people that they are serving that are in these programs. When we go out to visit a lot of the programs, you can just see the passion. When they talk, they're just passionate about what they're doing because it matters. And, with the workforce training and education, we've seen people get, a CNA diploma, truck driving, welding, anything that you can imagine. They're there to help that person get to where they want to be.
One thing I can appreciate, I had a conversation with one of our subgrantees from kind of northeast Mississippi the other day, and we were talking about another subject, but he started just glowing to our executive director and myself about one of his programs that he's had a couple of people that came to him making anywhere from $7 to $12 an hour. Mm-hmm. Exactly what you said. Mm-hmm. And now they got their first job and they moved into a job that was making $48,000 a year. Right. And with the expectation that in a year they're going to be at 60. Several factors there. We're changing families, as you mentioned already, Suzanne, for generations.
Yes.
But the other piece is, from an economic development standpoint, when you see people buying a house, there was one statistic that stated that a new house build actually creates anywhere from 8 to 10 long-term jobs, because that's how it stimulates our economy. Buying a house for many people is a way, when we give them the leg up and they continue to move and increase in pay, and they purchase that house, our economy thrives because we're giving people opportunity. Is that kind of what you're seeing mm-hmm. in the energy of our subgrantees? It is.
Even, the talking about APA, when you go and you go and the program's going on, you can just see that the kids, they're excited, even the younger kids. You can just tell that they are being motivated. They're learning new things. They're not just at home on a cell phone or looking at TV. You can just see what a difference it makes just to have people around them that are working and doing everything they can to give them what they need, to have a good life, to advance, to go to college. The same with the WTEP. It's just an opportunity that so many people would not have otherwise. And that's why our subgrants are so important, because they're able to help those people that need it the most, but also help people that really want more. And that's where the passion, I think, comes in for our subgrantees, that they want to make things happen. They want to change lives and to be a part of that process.
And we're going to get to this a little bit further, and I'm going to tease the next question it's these they're doing it in local communities. So they get to see, those administrators of the programs, the subgrantees, get to see the long-term effects of how their community is purposefully being touched. Mm-hmm. One of the things you've also are doing APA can work. You have the children of someone who's in a workforce program maybe, or someone who is already in a job, but they need a certificate to move up in their job towards management. But the other piece is we know across Mississippi, families are in crisis. A lot of young families that may not have had the privilege of understanding how to do conflict resolution, budgeting, some of those skills. And we have some subgrantees that are not only doing some workforce programs, but they may be blending over into another purpose. We used to call this something different, but let's talk a little bit about, Lora, family dynamics, and then you can pass it off to Suzanne, and kind of let's talk about family dynamics, because it's kind of a underdeveloped or underthought of piece of what y'all do.
Absolutely. So originally, our program was a family dynamics program, and it kind of went through a phase where it was a parenthood initiative.
Yeah.
But in reviewing the goals and missions under that, we just thought the full family dynamic approach was better. So we returned to that, and in doing so, we provide classes for parents to learn the different milestones their children should be at different times, because if you're working full-time and taking your kids to school and doing all the things that keep us busy, we don't necessarily know what to look for if our child's missing a milestone, or if they're acting out, or the things that that should be indicators that we need to make some conscious effort to improve the situation. So we have classes that teach parents how to recognize these things. We have classes that teach parents how to specifically deal with each type of issue. We have subgrantees that promote prevention, intervention, reunification, where families have been separated due to any number of things, from drugs or family matters that have just separated the family. So we have all types of things that work together in conjunction to help try and reunify these families, or have these children put into the best possible location. And then these groups of programs, the APA, the WTEP, and the family dynamics, are all sort of a group of programs that we've specifically configured to work together, kind of as a circle of life.
Yes.
You have your children being taken care of, and not just babysat, but being taught how to move forward into the workforce. And then you have the folks that are already there but don't have the ability to get a sustainable wage. They're giving them the opportunity to learn or be placed in sustainable employment. And then also providing families with resources to keep them a family, or to help them navigate financial literacy or things that may be causing problems within the family unit.
One of the statistics that I saw related to families is there's a significant increase in family stress towards the ends of a month when the finances start to get stressful. And so I love that we're intervening with helping people move up to receive more paychecks, higher paychecks, but also teaching families. I believe every family in Mississippi could probably benefit from some or all of the programs that we're providing in communities across the state. So that's a really cool way that your teams are deliberately trying to interweave the programs together to make sure that they're fairly holistic. Suzanne, you were going to interject?
Well, talking about families, even down to budgeting and finance. If you're a single mom and you've only had a job doing a little bit, or part-time, or not making much money, and you are able to get to a better job. I mean, you need someone to be able to work with them on a finance plan, or how to budget your money, how to budget your SNAP benefits. I mean, even that can come into play, because a single parent. I mean, there's so many hardships for a single parent. you just can't ignore the fact that it is hard to be a single parent raising children. So with the family dynamics, that's what that mom's going to get. I mean, they're going to get support wherever they need that support to help with the children, but also just help with the burden of, everyday life, budgeting. I mean, that's a big deal. They may be living in a housing project, but they want to move to an apartment that maybe is better. But they need to know how to do that. That's not something, just because you get a new job today making a lot better money, you can't just run out and get an apartment. It's a process. So those things are very important. And it's important for the children too. Because if that mom is under stress or gets angry easily or whatever might be going on just because of everything that's happening, you want her or even the father to know, what to do to just kind of de-escalate things, because kids are going to be kids, toddlers going to be running around, but it just gives them, everything they need to just be a good parent, be a good head of household, or be a good partner with your husband. If you're a couple trying to do better, it's very important. And again, the subgrantees that we have that do these programs, I mean, they're all in. They're vested in making things happen in a positive way.
In a local community.
In a local community.
And so what it means is families get into crisis. They're embedded with somebody really that knows them and they can go to in a pinch.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's a really cool thing. Go ahead, Laura.
In addition to what Suzanne was saying, the fatherhood programs that are supplied by the Family Dynamics Programming, they're out there also, and these programs are meant in some cases where a two-parent family is not an available option. There's co-parenting classes. There's things that teach these parents that tag team approach with kids is fundamental, because we can't all be on top of our game all the time. Mm-hmm. We have to let go and let someone else take the wheel for a little while. So that co-parenting is really needed with these kids. That single parent model is not enough, because mom needs a break, dad needs a break, and you have to learn to be amicable and tag team with your partner or your co-parent and say, I need help here, please help me. And these classes can help promote that and help folks see how that model lays out and how it can work for them.
So one of the things you brought up was that fatherhood piece, and even though they're not managed together, there's some other programs here that the agency does with our Child Support Enforcement Division, with the Mississippi Access and Visitation Program, where they facilitate that two-parenting model where a two-parent household in the same home is not feasible.
Right.
And then we also have a new fatherhood initiative that we've been testing out and will be rolling out across the state. It's amazing to work for an agency that is doing so much in so many places and touching lives. There's so much that we need to do to tell our story, because this agency is doing amazing work, and the workforce team is doing an amazing job in touching lives. And there's some other pieces that we had, and I want to touch on that real quick, is work supports as part of this round of subgrantees. And I've been very interested in that, because keeping people employed and helping them make sure that they get to work, they're comfortable and they're able to think about their job while they're there, because there's a lot of things. I know I'm a parent and a grandparent, and I can tell you, when I had young children, there were certain things, their schooling, their instability of daycare, their instability of just the busyness of their life, were on my mind throughout the day. And without a good support system, and without the stability of cars or stability of resources, there were days that I was stressed, and that stress level did play into how I interacted with my own children. And so let's talk a little bit about work supports and some of the work that it will also do to wrap around APA workforce training and education, as well as family dynamics.
Sure. So to support those individuals who are out there trying to get an education or a new job placement so that they can have a sustainable wage and raise their families up, and what raise Mississippi up. We've reached out to partners that are providing supports specifically for this. They provide transportation, child care, in some cases legal fees when needed. We provide, or I should say they provide, access to tools and other workforce supports. Now, in saying this, I want to specify the difference between these child care programs and our APA programs.
Yes.
Child care programs are just that. They're there to care for your child so that you don't have to worry about what's going on with them while you're at work. And they are offered to children as young as
Birth.
Yes. And,
Birth to 5 is kind of the target audience for that.
it is, where APA programs do not provide services to children that young. They must be school-aged and be on a path to be educated and start career prep and, well, usually college prep first, but just depending on the situation. So those programs for the workforce supports are just that. They're to support people, get them around any barrier that's keeping them at home or unable to pursue a career path or a job that would help them or their community.
That's pretty cool that somebody, let's say, they have a 3-year-old child and a 9-year-old child. There's something that's still built comprehensively to meet the needs of the family structure, no matter what those ages. You got parents, we've got school-age children, and yes, I love that the after-school programs are encouraging and require someone to be in that, meeting those K-12 benchmarks or whatever we see there. And we do have a new partnership with another agency, with another part of our agency, with MDE, on helping align birth to 5 benchmarks to the K-12 readiness benchmarks through the preschool collaboratives. But just to see how all of this has some synergy to it, it's a, number one, it's a testament to the planning and work that goes into subgrantees and choosing subgrantees by your divisions, and the work that you do to make sure that those subgrantees are serving in local communities. And with that, I want to kind of pivot to the next question. Is we've talked a little bit about it. Why is it important? You know, it's one thing that we're this giant agency here in Jackson. Why is it important to use local partnerships versus this large agency? There's the hitch, sitting in Jackson to administer. It goes, what are the, from the business case, from the relational case, what are all of the factors that make it important to have partnerships? That's one thing that we sometimes miss out on your name is partnership management. Why are those partnerships critical to be managed from the local level?
I would say, looking at the state of Mississippi, each community is different. Each community has great things about it and not so great things about it. The employment, is completely different. You may have North Mississippi, there's plenty of manufacturing and new things coming all the time, it seems, but maybe in the Delta, you may have areas that there's hardly anything, for as far as a job goes, even daycare centers. I mean, we've seen that where there are underserved areas that some of the basic things that one area may have, another area may not. So with our subgrants, we want to make sure that we're getting into those underserved communities. But when you partner with someone in a community, those partners, they know the ins and the outs. They know the people. They may go to the grocery store and shop at the same place. They may be in the same church. But they know what the needs are because there's so many, and in each community it's a different type of need. But it's just very important having our partners out there and they can structure their programs around that because one APA program in the Delta may be completely different than an APA program in North Mississippi. But the main goal though is if you do have a community maybe where the schools are not as good, or like I said, there's not a lot of jobs that are there, that's where we want that partner to be so that they can work to make that a better community, a better place. And it's something that, you know, our subgrants want to do. Most of them are very community oriented. I would probably say that a lot of them, these programs are started because there was a need, and someone in that community saw the need and said, hey, we need to do something. And this is just a partnership that we can help them to do that.
So identifying the local need, responding and implementing a plan that meets a local need. Well, it goes back to that other earlier statement we were talking about. The participants make a connection to someone local, someone who may know them in the community, who they can see out in the community. And there's a level of accountability that comes to the people that are not only giving the program to live the life that they are training people to live, but for the client to see that life well lived out in a local community versus some person working in an office in a building in central Mississippi.
Right.
So that's a very, for me, a lot of wonder, okay, why can't we just do it all from our county offices? Why can't we do it all from our child support office? Or why can't we do it from X number of offices? The reality for many Mississippians is those programs are embedded and connected and even to the local school districts. And
Right.
so it's a great work, and y'all have given a perfect rationale for why we need programs in local communities. And we need them to drive the change and drive the relationship within that. Is there anything else on that really, why is it important for partnerships and local communities to do these programs? Is there anything else we want to kind of hit on that? There's a few notes I have regarding really local community needs. In many cases, it also provides jobs. These subgrants have to have people to operate them. Resources for families. And one of the things you mentioned to me yesterday, as we were talking about this, Lora, was opportunities for youth development in particular. Maybe a forgotten segment of our communities is when children get to the age of being able to almost drive and drive, we have a tendency to think, okay, they're a little bit more self-sufficient. How important are the after-school programs and maybe some of the programs to be available once they graduate high school? How important are those to that population?
Well, there's a need for community accountability. And as youth come up in these programs, especially cohorts that last years, they know the community more and more, and they learn over time the needs and the downfalls of a community. They are being developed into individuals that can serve the community and patch those places that need patching, and help with community pride, community development. They can see where jobs are needed, or where they might go to school to fulfill a job within that community. Community accountability and pride are very large portions of these programs.
So one of the things I was going to ask, but I really want to bypass it for time, the selection process is very rigorous. It started actually in April in terms of the posting of the RFPs, receiving responses, all of that process. And we did not finalize many of the contracts till right at the beginning of January 26. As I mentioned, your name is Workforce Development and Partnership Management. And so there's a partnership to be managed, a relationship to be developed, especially with new subgrantees. So what are some of the ways that your division provides support to subgrantees and fulfillment of their subgrant proposals?
You want me to go?
Yeah. we can both talk.
Okay, well, you want to start?
Sure.
Okay.
So right from the beginning, when subgrants start, we host a subgrantee meeting where we provide them with details about compliance for federal awards. We provide them opportunities throughout the subgrant period to get together to share best practices, program downfalls, success stories, subject matter experts. We go out to view their program, see their program. We check out whether or not they are doing all the things that we've contracted with them to do. And if things are missing, we work with them to make sure that those things are being provided, that that level of accountability is there, that they're doing exactly what they say they're doing. Also, we provide technical assistance in the realm of fiscal compliance.
Yes.
For claims or reimbursements. We have so many things that we do throughout a grant period to work with the subgrantees to make sure that they are getting the type of support they need to have a promotable, growing program that's helping Mississippians.
One of the things I'm very appreciative of your team this year specific, before we go to Suzanne, is that you kind of allowed the communications team to kind of nose our way in to even support to support the subgrantees in promotion of their programs, to provide our knowledge, not as much of our expertise, but maybe our relationships to help share their story. That's a transparency piece, it's an accountability piece for this agency that's necessary, but more importantly, it says to them that from multiple levels of this agency, their work is important. And I want to thank y'all for allowing my team to be involved in that this year. But Suzanne, one thing people may not know is you don't work here at state office.
I do not.
You work in North Mississippi,
I
and so
do.
you have that perspective of that local and being embedded, providing those local supports.
Yes, yes. In where I am housed is in Marshall County, up in the north. But yes, I mean, you see it, you see things every day. You meet people every day that could use the programs that we offer. And as far as the subgrantees, with me and my team, we offer technical assistance to them, and we try to get to know them as much as on a personal level as we can, because we want that communication. If they are having a struggle with part of their program, we want them to reach out to us to let us know so that we can offer them assistance. Because we want all of our programs to succeed. We want all of our programs to grow. And we do have some subgrants that maybe have not been doing it a long time. Yeah. So we want to offer them more assistance to be sure that they have everything that they need in getting their program going and started and just kind of rolling along. And then we have some that are tried and true. They've been around a long time, and we don't have to do as much with them. But, when it comes to, I think, the agency and our partnership with our subgrantees, it's so important to be a part of their program, to get to go and see the program. And that's the best part of my job and my staff, is when we get to go and see it in action. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's when it all comes together. Or if they have an event. I know Amiable Arts had the play, the musical. Things like that, it's just like you can read about it on a piece of paper, but when you actually can experience it, that's when you're like, this is great. We're excited about this.
I have an amazing story. You brought up one of our new subgrantees, Amiable Arts. Heard this amazing story. There was a young girl, Amiable Arts does some arts programs, piano lessons, singing lessons, drama lessons as part of the subgrantee. For some disadvantaged kids, a lot of them. One of the young girls, Amia, the executive director, had the head of Capitol Police come. And he came and talked to the class. He connected with this young girl from the inner city of Jackson. This young lady wrote a play and invited him to come not only see, but he actively participated in that play that this young lady wrote as part of her program. And that police officer connected into the program. That is, for me, one of the coolest stories, that because we are helping and we're connecting into, we're not just saying, here's a program, go do. We're involved with them. We're seeing relationships that would not materialize otherwise be happening.
And that's so important. I know with Boys and Girls Club, they're another one of our subgrantees, but when we've gone to visit them, I mean, so many that are employed there now actually attended Boys and Girls Club when they were young. And because of their experience and the mentoring, things that they learned, and I mean, they just decided they wanted to go back and work there. So I mean, and that's, I think, with a lot of our programs, especially the APA, I mean, the after school, those are really, to me, very important. I mean, they're all important, but for so many children around the state, you know, they may not know what the step is to take an ACT test. They may not know what you do to get into, I mean, I've heard youth say, even in Marshall County, well, I don't even know how to go to college. I don't know how to get into college. You know, it's so many things like that these subgrants can offer to the youth, going back to the parenthood. You know, they're getting things that maybe you and I got growing up, that might be missing.
Yeah.
And that's a very, you know, you can say everybody can get a job, you can say everybody can do this, but, you know, until you walk in their shoes, you know, there's a lot of things that are going on that, you know, we might not even be aware of.
So what I want to do, we're coming up to the end of our time. I want to invite everyone who wants to know what our subgrantees are, who our subgrantees are, what are they doing. They're listed by subject title, existing subgrantees and the new ones, on our Workforce Development and Partnership Management page. We invite you to go to mdhs.ms.gov and go to Workforce Development, and you can see all of those. As we close, one final question for 15 seconds for each of you. What do you hope to see as the outcome for this next round of subgrantees?
Well, I know what I have seen, and I enjoy seeing, and it brings me a lot of joy and understanding of the passion our subgrantees have. Amiable arts, once again, I've seen the children from the start of the program, from just run around, no real clear vision of what's going to happen. And I've seen them organize into a little troop of folks that have very specific goals and jobs to put together either a performance or learn lines for example, a play, and then to see those kids who were shy and run around and not engaged get up on the stage and be so powerful and give these performances, and other students that are working the backlights, and other students, you know, cueing the music, and all of them having the opportunity to experience that, to know if that's a path they want to go in life, whether a hobby or work, or that exposure is very important, and seeing them change from this to that is extremely rewarding. And the same for the workforce training and education programs. We have people come in tears and thanking the provider and even DHS staff, the field staff, saying, you know, I was in a place without hope, and you guys have contributed to my home, my family, and we can't tell you how thankful and grateful we are. And family dynamics programs, the reunification of a family, or seeing the fatherhood programs where the dads are getting out there with their sons and their daughters for a weekend event and just enjoying it, and being able to communicate with their spouses, and just enjoying that time together and learning how to find the resources they need to continue on that path.
Suzanne? You're 15 to 30 seconds.
I agree with everything that Laura said. And you know, every time I see a success story, I think, okay, this is great. You know, every time I see someone that got a CNA license, or was able to drive a truck, or a child that gets into college, I mean, all of those things, I mean, that's what it's all about. And it just lets you know that we are making a change in Mississippi to hopefully give everybody that wants an opportunity to live the life they want to live, to be successful, to have things that they may have thought they never could have, to raise children. They're going to go to college and get a good job. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing.
To close, you both are leading teams that are fulfilling the mission of this agency to provide tangible help today that creates a lasting hope for tomorrow. Hence the word that we are connecting hope. Thank y'all for joining us, and we hope to see you soon on another episode talking about the amazing work that you do for Mississippians.